So Manchester United in their familiar red, defending the goal to our left to get us away. And what a following they have. They're lying 15th in the First Division and having a fairly nondescript season. And yet, over 2 hours before the start of this game, queues were ringing White Hart Lane 6 deep. Now it's Chivers. And really United facing a challenge. Here's Best. Wanting 1 goal for his 100 in the league. Fitzpatrick to Law. And now to Willie Watson, the new face in this United side. Law again. Shaking off Peters and finding Best. A little shimmy that tries to put him past Perryman. Throw to Manchester United. And the referee today, Ray Tinkler, from Boston, on the league list since 1961. Perryman in very quickly. And now it's Martin Peters. Knowles again making a willing run down the left. Chivers again waiting in the middle. And Gilzean's made a break as well. Knowles hard and low. Bobby Charlton. Aston on this side. Kidd. Giving Fitzpatrick no chance, and there's Kinnear right there. Back to Philip Beale. And Mullery. Kinnear. Mullery again. Kinnear. Chivers going for it, finding Gilzean with his head. Good work there by Chivers and good control by Gilzean. And Pearce going in with a flying header. They were watching Peters more closely than they were watching Pearce. So a very promising opening. Nothing yet to show for it by Spurs, but a very promising opening for them. Kinnear. Peters out-jumped by 2 United defenders, Watson and Fitzpatrick. Knowles, Peters free, can he get a shot? No, he can't, because that was a marvellous piece of covering by David Sadler. The number 6 for Manchester United really got across there quickly. And there it is, England right up there. Rimmer to use his fists, and it's coming through now to Chivers again, with time to tee it up, pushed away once more. Perryman, so much pressure on Manchester United. Knowles. Peters looking for it. England is right in there as well. Done only as far as Gilzean, just past. And United in the most terrible tangle in defence, and nobody at the back there to organise them. But in fact, it was a free kick. Might well have been that Mike England, who's now got back to defence, had his feet rather high in the challenge there. But at any rate, the whistle had gone. Bobby Charlton going for that one and missing completely. To the mystification of Spurs, it's a free kick to Manchester United. Law putting it straight at Kidd, in fact. And then putting it straight into touch. Looking just a little bit rattled at the moment, Manchester United. It's Knowles. Looking for Chivers. But it must have been a foul by Steve James, the number 5 on Chivers, because it's a free kick for Spurs. In a position exactly where I would imagine Knowles would turn another one into that penalty area. Gilzean looking for it and getting ahead to it, just past Rimmer's post. Fine jump by Gilzean. He had 2 men marking him and he still got above them. So even that young Spurs supporter thinks so too, waving that scarf for all he's worth. At corner then, yet another for Spurs. Rimmer just having got a fingertip to it. Peters making a tremendous run towards the near post. He's left Chivers free on this side. Too high for Chivers, but Knowles to collect it. England calling for it in the air. Mike England going for it with his head. Always up and staying up for these dead ball situations. The number 5, Mike England. Corner again to Spurs, and Pearce with it. Peters again making that run to make the short one possible. Wide for Knowles, with time to put it in the middle. Taking more time than maybe he should have done. And now Beale. Mullery, snapped out from behind by Fitzpatrick. Beale again. Trying to turn it towards Chivers. Charlton, Fitzpatrick and Aston. Five Spurs players back in a line strung across the edge of that penalty area. Now Kidd turns it in towards Bobby Charlton. Beale not getting it very far. It's Fitzpatrick. Charged down by Mullery. And Spurs off on another assault. Gilzean held it too long. And Sadler, who brings it away. United's throw. Oh, Best in a bit of space. Beale jogging alongside him. Kidd has made the burst, and a good burst too. Perryman right back, and a corner to Manchester United. Looks as though Kidd's in trouble from the challenge by Steve Perryman, but a perfectly fair challenge by Perryman it looked. A desperate one certainly, because Kidd was right through in that penalty area. The referee has taken Kidd off the field and says that the treatment must continue there. And so Bobby Charlton with the corner for Manchester United. And it's pushed away and over the line, says the linesman, and the goal is given, and it's Sadler who has scored it. No, not given. It was a push, says the referee. The goal is not given. Well, there looked to be a misunderstanding there between the linesman and the referee. It looked as though he'd given it, but there was an infringement on the line. And I noticed incidentally that Wilf McGuinness, the Manchester United trainer, now with Brian Kidd behind the goal. There's Perryman. Gilzean flicked on and offside, says the linesman. There's Wilf McGuinness waving his arm, had a word with that linesman as he went by. Bobby Charlton. John Aston, number 11, and Knowles watching him. Kidd looking for that one, and Law! There it is by Dennis Law! Well, would you believe it? For 30 minutes they're outclassed, and then in a flash, Law puts Manchester United in front. What an astonishing turnabout, but what a superb piece of opportunism by Dennis Law. Well, I suppose every Spurs supporter at White Hart Lane was saying there's no justice here, with Spurs outclassing Manchester United for so long, and now here they are with 32 minutes gone, a goal down. England, Chivers, Gilzean right up, but that's Manchester United. Mullery over that bar. And that's what character and resilience, I suppose, are all about. And all credit to United on the receiving end for so long. When the chance comes their way, my goodness, they make it count. Law, of course, who's had so much trouble with injury, scoring his 7th goal of the season. England. Nobody can doubt that Dennis Law, 8 seasons at Manchester United, they really have been 8 most exciting seasons for everybody who's watched him. Knowles now to Pearce as Spurs storm back, and Chivers almost putting it through. What a save though by Rimmer to get down as quickly as that from Chivers. Kinnear getting himself into a bit of trouble for a moment, and he must have handled it as he tried to control it. Free kick then to Manchester United. Remember, free kick that Bobby Charlton blasted past that Spurs wall in the game at Old Trafford last season and scored. No, it's Best again to curl one. England to get it away. Best. Good control by Best. Almost getting in by that near post. Seven minutes to go to half-time. Mullery. Knowles. For Mullery again, and Knowles once more. Aim towards Chivers and Gilzean, and Chivers going in on it. Gilzean! Oh, what a save by Rimmer! How did he keep that out? That looked the merest formality for Gilzean from 2 yards, and no wonder the United players are going across. to thump him on the back. Now Knowles turning it across again. And a goal kick. Well, I think there must certainly be a certain mystery in the south as to why Alex Stepney can't get back into that Manchester United side. And I think a moment ago we had one of the answers. That really was a superlative save by young Jimmy Rimmer. England up again. Perryman bursting in on the scene. Mullery there too. And so is Kidd to Bobby Charlton. Dennis Law. Tony Dunn tempted to put it back, I think, but then found that Chivers was right back as well. As the whistle goes for the end of a first half that sees Dennis Law having put Manchester United ahead when it could so easily have been Spurs 2 or 3 ahead by the time that he did it. Spurs 0, Manchester United 1, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes with the rest of the game. Spurs get away in the second half, now defending the goal to our left. United obviously kept buoyant in that first half by some superlative goalkeeping by young Jimmy Rimmer. Now it's Pearce. The pressure already on United again. Peters looking for it, but Fitzpatrick to Aston. Short ball to Bobby Charlton. And now to George Best. Peters snapping at him, and after the ball had gone, Best, I suppose, probably takes more wear and tear on his body in the course of a season than most footballers. A little shrug and a little smile that says such a lot. Sadler's long free kick headed away there by England as far as Best. Mullery now back to Jennings. Two Northern Ireland teammates there in the tangle. Pearce not quite able to get to it as Chivers tried to flick it inside. England to Kinnear, who has almost half the pitch to himself. Perryman. Gaggle at the far side waiting for the high ball. Gilzine pumping it on, and Dunn putting it back. Law now for Manchester United, on for Best. Trying to torment both Beale and Mullery, and succeeding up to a point. Beale brings him down and the play goes on. Mullery, the long ball, seeking out the speed and the strength of Chivers, going down. And the ball still not out of play. To Jimmy Pearce. A long cross ball, Gilzine to raise himself for it. And that was precious close to the top angle of that Manchester United goal from Gilzine. Such a dangerous customer in the air at the far post from those crosses. Although this may be a tactic that is becoming just a little predictable for Spurs. Now Kinnear. Not the best of passes from Watson. Mullery. Oh, another good one by Mullery as well, straight to Aston. Kidd. Law. Brian Kidd. To George Best. Fitzpatrick. Best going in on it. Best! Oh, beautifully taken by Best! What a magnificent goal by Best! What a magnificent goal that destroyed that Tottenham defence. He started it off and then took it beautifully on his body round that Spurs defence and made it number 2. Well, that's George's 7th goal of the season. It makes him the top scorer for Manchester United. Whether you love him or whether you hate him, you can never ignore him. George Best. And, of course, that is his 100th league goal. Well, he scored the goals, and over the years he really has brought unrivaled entertainment to vast crowds everywhere, George Best. Cyril Knowles. Chivers looking to make a run towards it, but in fact it's Perryman now. Pearce, Knowles again with a chance to lift it once more. Peters waiting at that far side, getting it in! Martin Peters! 2-1! Well, that really does open it up again. Knowles for the umpteenth time putting it across that Manchester United goal mouth. And there, lifting himself above the ruck, Martin Peters, to make it 2-1. And that really does make it a game now. 2-1 to Manchester United, with just over a quarter of an hour of the second half gone. Yes, the Tottenham fans are in good voice now. They can see a bit of hope. But it's Aston taking up the running again for Manchester United. Stopped by Knowles. Brian Kidd with the throw. Aston and Kidd with a tremendous shot. Charged away as far as David Sadler. Turning another one in, just over that bar, pushed there, tipped there, delicately by Pat Jennings from David Sadler. Well, we saw that the groundsman had to come on and sort out those rolls of paper last week, and Pat Jennings doing it this week as they litter the back of his goal. The crowd absolutely delirious at that end. You wouldn't still think that they were a goal down. And now more pressure on them as Aston takes his corner. Bobby Charlton going in there. And Watson with a shot, but under the roof of the stand. And never likely to go under the crossbar. Fighting with the ball there. It's like something in a fairground there. And finally the policeman to Pat Jennings. Crowd, I think, claiming that Chivers was pushed again there by James, but it's Spurs in possession once more, and they're very intelligently spreading this game out as wide as they can. Now it's Knowles turning it in. Oh, Gilzean! 2-2! What a goal by Gilzean! Oh, and what a comeback by Tottenham! Again the cross from the left, and again Gilzean with that head of his to flick it wide of Rimmer. And so from 2 down, it now stands at 2-2. Well, what a tremendous game this has turned out to be. Spurs v Manchester United has that reputation of being something a little bit special, and this afternoon it's no exception. And now with this pendulum swinging against Manchester United towards the Spurs and Alan Mullery, the odds must now increasingly be on Spurs to do something even more dramatic. Chivers. Pearce to Mullery. Wide there for Knowles. This is where the goals have come from. And across that goal, and just past that post, as the crowd tumbles down behind it, and it needed the merest touch to make it 3-2 to Tottenham. And a United player down injured, and Steve James and Fitzpatrick and Law. There's a fight, in fact, between the United players on the field, angry with each other, and Dennis Law in the middle of it. David Sadler as well, angry obviously with Mullery, who is acting very wisely and sensibly as a peacemaker. But obviously Law full of anger and anguish that this 2-goal lead should have been lost. And there at the end, exactly as it should finish. Well, he was furious with Fitzpatrick for not doing his job at the back, but that really was the heat of the moment, and that was Dennis Law. Oh, and a good ball there from Kinnear that sends Peters away, and again good defence by Tony Dunn. Trying to push Martin Peters out of it, though. Gilzean. Peters. First time across that goal. Pearce at the far side. It wouldn't reach him, so it's Mullery to drive it just over. And it was tipped over by Rimmer once more. England again urging it in the air. Gilzean looking for it. Peters also, and they couldn't get a foot to it. The whistle had gone in any case. Well, Mullery has played his full part in keeping his men moving, keeping their spirits high when they were 2 down, and now it's 2-2 with a quarter of an hour to go. And now Best. Law. Back to Best again. Searching out Aston. Tony Dunn making a run for him. Still Aston. Beating Kinnear for speed. A good piece of work there by Aston. Kidd trying to put it back for Best. And now Willie Watson looping it into that Spurs penalty area. Fitzpatrick there. Law with one of those jackknife headers once more. Knowles. Pearce neatly slipping it inside. Perryman, a beautiful ball by Perryman to Knowles. And now there are plenty of white men waiting for it amongst them. Peters and Gazine! Oh, just passed off the knees of Chivers. That came off his knees and fractionally past the post. Sadler. And England up as Kidd was backing in on him. Mullery in very quickly before Charlton could take advantage of it. Beale to Knowles. The very last seconds now. Chivers again trying to get away from the defence. Knowles once more. And now England. One last crisis for this United defence to weather. No, they won't have to, because the final whistle has gone, and a really magnificent game it's been. Dennis Law, the scorer of the first goal. George Best, the scorer of the United goal, and it seemed to be safe for them. And then in the Spurs comeback, Martin Peters scored the first goal, and the second one, of course, by Alan Gilzean. The final score then at White Hart Lane with the children on the pitch. Spurs 2, Manchester United 2.